Hey guys, Lee with LG Speed and Custom here, and in this video we are going to modify these Patriot headers that do not fit, despite saying they fit 32 to 34 Fords. So this is Aaron's 33 Ford pickup, flathead powered, and he wanted to run some ceramic lake style headers. So to save money, we bought some Patriot H8474-1, which say right in the description, they fit 32 to 34 Fords, plus many other fenderless hot rods. By the time we got them shipped to the door with shipping to Canada and exchange rate and stuff, they were like $1,100. They don't fit. They're not even close. It hits the body right here, and we still have like a ½ inch gap up here. So it's kind of lame that it says they fit 32 to 34 Ford when they don't. However, to be fair, I did try them on my 32 Ford and they do fit. So maybe it is just like 32 to 34 Ford cars they fit, but they definitely don't fit 32 to 34 Ford trucks. So we have a couple options. We can pay money to ship them all the way back and then get a refund and build another set, or we can just modify these ones. Now we'll probably take a little bit of a hit financially to modify these ones versus just building a set from scratch, but what do you do? That's the way hot rodding goes sometimes. I've got a pretty easy theory on how I can fix these. So that's what we're going to do in this video. The issue we're having is they don't sit far enough away from the motor to clear the cowl. So to fix that, we're going to splice them right there and add a couple inches in there, and that will push this out, which will push it further away from the cowl. I talked to a ceramic coating shop and they're fine with touching it back up. I didn't know that you could touch up ceramic coating, but they claim that you can. So that's what we're gonna do when we finish them up, is we'll send them off and get them re-ceramic coated. If for whatever reason they can't, then my plan B is where we splice in here. Maybe we'll just put a little bit of like header wrap on those areas. I don't know. Hopefully we can get them ceramic coated though. So let's figure out how much we need to add. You know, I have to say, it's kind of funny that an American company called Patriot gets their stuff made in Mexico. So to figure out how far we need to space this back, I'm going to take these two little straight edges and let's hold our straight edges on the edge of the flange at like 3 inches or so. I don't know, is that enough? Mock that up. That looks like it might be a little bit much. Let's try 2 inches. That's better, but we might be able to get it a little closer. Let's try 1 inch. One inch is doable, but it's a little close. Maybe let's do 2 inches. Yeah, I think 2 inches is good. You don't want this to get too close to the paint just for heat. So I think if we extend these 2 inches, we will be all right. This is some 1¾ inch exhaust tubing that I just dug out of my cutoff box. And that is the same diameter as this. This is 1¾ inch, 1¾ primaries. So if we cut all 3 of these here, that should separate these into 2 pieces. Then we'll cut 3 pieces of this at exactly 2 inches and splice them in there. And that should work, I think. First thing I did was took a long end and I squared it up on the belt sander so that we had one end that was totally square. Then I set my T-square to 2 1/16, even though we only want 2 inch. And that is so that when we make our cut at 2 1/16, or 2 1/16, we've got our one end that's already square. And now we can take this end that's, you know, technically 1/16 of an inch too big, and that gives us a little bit of meat so that we can square it up to a perfect 2 inch, which is what we're gonna do now. We've got all 3 cut out. I'm only gonna do one side first, make sure it works, and if it works, then we'll do the other side. We'll square these guys up now. I've reset this to 2 inches, so you can see how much meat we got to work with here. If they end up being really square, maybe we'll just make them 2 1/16. That'll still work, that'll be fine. So my chop saw ended up being a lot more square than I expected it to, and they squared up really nice. So we are at 2 1/16, which will work fine. Nobody will ever know that that header is a 1/16 of an inch further out than we anticipated it to originally be. So these pieces are all done. As you can see by squaring them up on the belt sander, they fit perfect. We got a really nice, tight, no gap fit, which is what we want on here. So how do we cut this and have no gap? Here's a little trick that I use. Take a zip tie, wrap the zip tie around it. I do the zip tie backwards. If you do them backwards, they don't actually latch, and then you can take them apart. The reason I do these backwards is because then you don't waste zip ties. Zip ties are expensive. I just bought a bag of 1,000, and it was like $10, I think, for 1,000. But that's not the point. The point is we can do all of this with one zip tie instead of 6 zip ties. So you wrap your zip tie around like that, and that gives you a nice, perfect circle that you can trace. Just like that. And now we have a nice even line that we can follow. I don't know if we're going to cut this with a hacksaw or a zip disc yet. Hacksaw might be a little more controllable, but also takes longer. There we go. We got our lines. So I've decided to go with the hacksaw because the grinder with the zip disc, you know, it's going to be awkward to get it in there, and we want our cuts to be really nice. And because this is just exhaust tubing, it's actually cutting really easy. So with our header in 2 pieces now, we can take our little spacer pieces that we made. And weld it back together. So before we weld these up, I've got this idea for a thing that I want to make. It's not my idea. I saw it on Instagram for sale. I was thinking, you know, I can make that myself. So we're gonna cut one of these things out of this piece of 16 gauge, see if it works, and if it works, we'll make a couple of them. Sorry, I got ahead of you guys and I forgot to film this part. But we took that flat piece and shaped it over this little piece of pipe using my hand and that. And now we're going to weld wherever I put them. Stand by. There they are. We're going to weld one there and one there. There we have it. You guys figured out what I was building yet? So you take your pipe or your tubing, slide it into the middle, slide it onto your header. In this case, we'll take this piece, slide them together, butt them up nice and tight. They're nice and square. Put our vice grips in there, lock it in. Now we've got nice and square and tight with little windows that we can tack weld. Throw a couple tacks in there and then undo the vice grips and slide this piece off. Okay, let's try this and see how it works. I went ahead and sanded the ceramic coating back because I don't imagine ceramic coating and TIG welders get along good. Let's get this situated where it needs to be. Clamp it in place. Let's tack it. Where's my helmet? There it is. Okay. That worked nice. Mm-hmm. Oh, that one we need some filler rod. There we go. Now we'll do these ones and then fit it up against the header. Okay, start part 2. Mm-hmm. Yep. So this end might get a little bit trickier because this little clamp that I just made, if we put that together, oh, that goes that way. Scared me for a minute. You know, we won't be able to slide it off. Well, maybe we could probably fold it back. It might distort it a bit, but I guess the question is, what are we more worried about distorting? If we wreck our clamp or don't get a nice job on the header, we can always make another clamp. I'm going to prep this, sand the ceramic coating off with the DA sander, and then start fitting it. So for welding this piece up, I think I'm gonna make at least one more of these. I tried mocking it up and holding them in place with hose clamps, but it's not working out. So the amount of time I've messed around with this, I could have built another one of these already. I just cut 2 more of these out on the plasma table. Now I can show you how I make them. This piece of tubing is a tiny bit smaller than the exhaust tubing. So we're just gonna kind of work it around. And then the middle part, I just kind of wrapped it around with my hand. Get to about that point there. Clamp this end in place. And that's it. So because this is slightly smaller, we put it on here. Well, never mind. When I did the first one, it fit really, really nice, but this one needs a little bit more. How's that? Just gave it a little squeeze. There we go. I've got all 3 clamps sitting in there. They're all finished, obviously, and I got this all clamped together. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack them. Then we can test fit this on the truck. See how it fits, and if it fits good, we can weld them all up. Okay, let's see if these will spring back enough. Oh yeah, that works. Yeah, we can definitely reuse these again. They're fine. And there's our header, roughed in there. Let's go see if it fits. Survey says perfect. Put a couple bolts in just to double check. You ever find it weird how flatheads have 3/8 bolts for the second and third ports, but 7/16 bolts for the front ports? I wonder why that is. Why'd they do that? Cool. That works great. We've got just about, got more than a thumb, not quite 2 fingers through there. I can almost slide my finger through there, but we've got enough, like I'm not worried about it. Cool, let's weld it up. Now that this is all TIG welded up, we can grind our welds down. Ideally, we want to make it look like we were never in here, like we've never spliced anything in. So we're gonna grind it down with 80 grit on the little 90° here, rather than 36 grit, just because the 36 grit is gonna leave some heavy scratching in there that will be difficult to get out later. So we'll start with the 80 grit, just like when we hammer welded the cowl panel in on my 32. We want to focus on just grinding the weld surface down and not grind on the tubing because we don't want to make it too thin. This is the top side, so this is the important side. On the bottom side, if there's a little flaw or a blemish somewhere, not that big of a deal, but this is the side that everybody's going to be looking at. All the people at cruise night, the judgy people at cruise night. So this is the side we got to make look nice. The top side turned out great. The bottom side turned out great. Now our next step is we're gonna take our DA sander and some 120 grit and blend all this together. And our strategy here is we just want to make everything disappear and look uniform so that you can't tell that we were just grinding there. Kind of like that. I just finished sanding everything with 120 grit on the DA. It came out very nice. I'm quite pleased with it. The last step we're gonna do is take some red Scotch-Brite and just kind of give it a little polish. And this doesn't really do anything except make it look nice. Kind of blends it all, makes it look uniform. I'm gonna finish this last one up and then I'll show you guys what it all looks like. Wow, look at that. Jim says it looks great. Can't even tell. Can't even tell. I think it looks pretty good. We've got tons of room through here. We've got enough room underneath. All we got to do now is everything we just did to this side on the other side. All right. Other side's done. I spared you guys the torture of watching me do this twice, and I didn't film doing the second side because it was exactly the same as when we did the first side, just on this header instead of that header. So let's go test fit this now that it's extended 2 inches and see how it fits. All right, let's slide this over the little dipstick opening. There we go. Get our bolt started. 7/16 guy up front. There we have it. And there we go. That's how I solved the issue on Aaron's 33 Ford with the headers not clearing the body. We just extended them a little bit. It worked out really well. I'm really happy with it. Hopefully the ceramic coating goes okay. I don't know how that works. I've never dealt with a lot of ceramic coating, so that's still kind of new to me. I don't know if they can just like blend it in, and I don't even know how ceramic coating works, to be honest. But and they said they could fix it, so just have to trust them, I guess. Yeah, as always, be sure to check out lgspeedcustom.com if you want to support this channel and get yourself some LG Speed and Custom merch. Our next step after the headers get retouched up is we're going to have to build an exhaust system for this, and we're going to keep plugging away on Aaron's 33 Ford here, as well as my 32 Ford beside us. So make sure to subscribe, notifications, so when new videos come up, you know all about it. And let me know in the comments what you think about my header fix. Thanks for watching.